Hey y'all, it's Kim. I know I haven't been on in a few days. I was sick for a little bit and just other stuff. But I don't know if y'all have seen this. There's so much going on all the time. But Michelle Obama ugh, has a podcast. Ugh, I can't get over her teeth. I'm sorry. I know that's mean, but you're telling me you couldn't get some Invisalign and get some straightening done of those things because they're like something about her teeth. But anyway, I'm gonna let y'all watch Miss Rita go to town on these lefties losing it because they just create so much content for us. Oh my goodness. All right, I'll shut up, but here you go with Miss Rita. Oh, and the JFK stuff. Oh, that's a whole nother thing. But anyway, let's do this first because that's going to take like months and months and months to go through it. Anyway, here you go.
And it's time for lefties losing it. The fake news media is really hitting new lows, so eager to restart their debunked Russian conspiracy theories that they somehow managed to mix up this man, Modi, the Indian Prime Minister, with this dude, Vladimir Putin. Easy
Nothing
mistake
alike.
to make if you've lost all reasoning, any semblance of objectivity. When you are an activist journalist for MSNBC, here are some of the corrections.
Last night, The Last Word reported on excerpts of an interview between the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, and an Indian TV news network in which she said Trump was good friends with the world leader. Now, we said that world leader was Vladimir Putin, but the full interview was subsequently released, and it showed that Gabbard was referring to Donald Trump and the Indian Prime Minister, Narendra Modi.
Wait. So Tulsi Gabbard mentions that Trump is good friends with the world leader, and they not only just assumed she's talking about Vladimir Putin, but then they report that as if it were fact on television. That's what happened. Let's hear one more correction from MSNBC on that issue.
Last night, we reported on excerpts of an interview between the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, and an Indian TV news network, in which she said that Trump was good friends with a world leader. We said that world leader was Vladimir Putin, but the full interview shows that Gabbard was referring to Trump and Indian Prime Minister Modi. Clear that up.
Now let's check in with the worst vice presidential candidate we have seen, uniquely awful Tim Walz, Tampon Tim. Remember him? He had all sorts of delusions of being vice president. Now he has delusions of being a presidential candidate, and he thinks he's a tough guy. Here he responds to media pundits who mocked his lack of masculinity.
This notion of it. This
I
notion
think
of
I can
toughness.
kick most of their ass. I do think that. I know I can be wrong, but I don't know if we're going to fall into that place where we want to. Okay, we challenge you to a WWE fight here type of thing.
Good luck with that, Tim. I think Judge Janine has you covered. Here, Tampon explains that Republican men are scared of his masculinity.
I think some of us scare him. I think I scare him a little bit. Why they spend so much time on it. No, I'm serious because I can fix a truck. They know I'm not.
But when he's not threatening to kick ass or brag about his truck, he is cheering on the damage caused to an American manufacturer that employs tens of thousands of Americans on good wages, a company that chooses to manufacture cars in the US. Tim Walz is happy that this company is being attacked and its stock price is falling. This is disqualifying, folks, even more disqualifying than putting tampons in boys' bathrooms.
That little stock app, I added Tesla to it to give me a little boost during the day.
You know what gives me a boost?
225.
What gives me a boost is the fact that this moron and the other word salad queen didn't get into the White House. That's what gives me hope and boosts my energy and took the burden off my shoulders, knowing that these potential morons would have been in there screwing America up. That's what gives me a boost of joy.
I've been dropping. So.
To the View now, and here Whoopi Goldberg scares the already disturbingly dumb audience by suggesting that Donald Trump will deport American citizens.
Keep your eyes open, y'all, because if they can just come up and take somebody
because they've made a decision that you're supposed to be that person.
Okay, these people are just so brain dead, and then I think they start clapping at the end when she's done. I mean, that's how stupid and brainwashed and just intellectually screwed. I don't know what else to say. It's just so dumb. It's like the stupidity is so breathtaking that they would like clap that she's saying that they would deport American citizens. Really? Really? You just can't. The liberal mind virus is like eating their brains, like eating the dogs and eating the cats. It's eating them. I mean, oh my gosh, those neurons are just not firing on all this stuff. What the hell? Hold on. Let me just go ahead and play this. It's so stupid.
Any one of us could find ourselves being deported to some country.
Don't give them any ideas, girl. Don't give them any ideas, girl. You heard Anna Navarro say that. And talking about Anna, look how miserable she is here as fellow CNN panelist states some facts and figures about Trump's popularity.
NBC News on Meet the Press, they reported their polling found the highest level of enthusiasm and the country going in the right direction since 2004. 20 years.
Yes, stating facts and figures can be triggering for the left. Watch here as another panelist on CNN claims that the data is all wrong because people in the street said so.
You do know what you're saying is incorrect. I don't care about the polling. The American, I don't care what NBC is saying. I can talk to the people on the streets. Are you on the streets? Are you talking to people?
Now to lefty Jon Stewart, here's some wise words of advice for the Democrats whose approval rating has plummeted to under 30%.
You're at 27%. You've got to get Trump to lose 8 points of popularity just for you to get to the point where you're 13 points below him. Your approval is only 7 points above, where it turns red and goes into low power mode.
Yep, things must be grim if even Jon Stewart is mocking the Democrats.
Maybe you're not a numbers learner. Maybe a visual demonstration for you here. Let me meet you where you live. All right, here we go. This is 48% approval. This is them. This is you. This is you. 27%. This is them. Oh, I see. They're much higher. Yes, they're much higher.
Now, former First Lady Michelle Obama is often spoken about.
Hold on, before we even look at her, I pulled this up earlier. This was on my Instagram. I didn't post this, somebody else did. I think Alan Jacoby, 1776. And anyway, this hair, I don't even care really about the hair. It's her teeth. I said her teeth bother me more than that dumb hairstyle. But anyway, this is what I put on here. I don't know if y'all could see this, but I had to. I was like, there was also that English lady, and she's like, she's kind of like making fun of the other lady, like, I told you so, or I think she's a meme. Let's see if we can find it. And she's like, when you tell somebody to Google something, hold on. Let me see if I can find it. I just have to pull it up because I think it's funny. I'll just say bucktooth lady. I don't know. Let's see. Let's put that. Sorry. Should have had this prepared, but sometimes you just go off on a tangent. Not that. There was a lady who's an older one. Anyway, something about her teeth. I can't find it. It's like the English lady. I think that's what it was. English lady? I think she's from England. Because I think she was on. No, that's not it. It's an older woman. If I ever find it, I'll try to put it up there. I'll save the picture. Meme of buck tooth. No, that's not it either. Well, anyway, something about Michelle Obama's teeth just bother me. Hold on, let's see here. It's like, let's see. Something about them. Oh, I can't stand it. Like here, she looks like ugh. I can't help it, y'all. Where is it at? They're just like sorry. Anyway, I can't stand them. Her teeth just bug me. Let me go back. Okay, let me get out of all of this. I don't know how I got onto this, but I just wanted to continue. Let me open this up.
About as a future presidential candidate. The Democrats are so desperate for any popular figure to take over the party, but how?
Hang on. I'm trying to open this up.
Popular is she? Michelle Obama has launched a new advice podcast, IMO, to much fanfare. It's a podcast co-hosted with her brother, Craig Robinson.
Speaking at leadership conferences, things you do.
Why is it not opening? Something's wrong with that. I'm going to just go in like this right now. But yes.
As a coach, you realize that what we have, even in our lack of resources, in our household growing up.
Just scintillating stuff, folks. And the audience numbers, I'm going to say, are not great. The latest edition on YouTube features Hollywood star Seth Rogen, but it's just got 6,500 views in 13 hours. Not even that, 6,400. Now, I don't want to brag about my lefties video, but the one from just last night's program is already sitting on 894,000 in 16 hours. Well, over 1 million by now, but
I think even on like X or Twitter, whatever we're calling it these days. Hold on, why is my screen like this? Exit the full screen. I gotta get out of this. Anyway, she's supposed to have like a ton of let me go on there and see what she's got. She's supposed to have like millions and millions of followers. So what's up? Why is her stuff getting what they call ratioed? Hold on. Where's my stuff? I just had to show y'all, I'm not lying, that you would think that she's supposed to be one of the most popular first ladies. So why is her stuff getting treated that way? Just saying. Let me see if I can even get in here. Should have had this pulled up too, but hey, we're just gonna do it on the fly. I don't care. Oh man, let's see where it's at. Okay, how do I find it? So let's look at her profile. If she's even still on here, who knows? Michelle Obama. Okay, so let's open this up. Oh yeah, 21.7 million followers. So why is her podcast not blowing up? Why is that? I don't understand it. Let's go back over here. So yeah, 6,400 is what she got. Versus Lefty's Losing It, which that's just popular anyway. And this one's had a little like 3 hours more that has been online. But why is that? Could it be manufactured? Like everything else with the Democrat Party? Something's fake about it. I don't see how she's that popular, but whatever. I'm just gonna let her ride, but
then again, Lefty's Losing It is pretty awesome. Joining me now is journalist and author Batia Ungasagon. Batia, What did you make of Michelle Obama's latest project? Is it relatable? Is it likable? Useful?
So I wrote a column about it for Unheard, and then somebody wrote to me in the comments, "Oh, you're the person who listened to the podcast." Yeah. You're absolutely right that it does not seem to have found an audience, and the reason for that is because the same thing that ails the Democratic Party in general ails this podcast. It's for and by rich women. And it's so amazing that this has not seeped in, that the Democrats have such a problem with men and such a problem with the working class. And yet Michelle Obama's podcast, her guests are all other unbelievably wealthy people like her. And I mean, they just don't have the problems that the average American needs advice on, because these people are all gazillionaires. And what's amazing and really offensive about this to me, Rita, is that Michelle Obama grew up working class. She grew up in a Black working class household, and we know that Black Americans struggle to make it into the middle class. Even Black men who are born wealthy, more often than not, find their way into the lower classes and end up poor. This is absolutely devastating. And Michelle Obama and her brother Craig Robinson have the answers to how to solve this problem. They grew up working class and they are both millionaires. And yet, Rita, they are gatekeeping the secrets that so many Americans are desperate to hear. And instead, they sit around with their wealthy friends and talk about things like when to end a friendship. And I find that a little bit offensive.
Absolutely. And the Democrats have become, as one very astute judge said, a party for weak men and miserable women. And it does seem to be what's ruining the party right now and making it unelectable. And when it comes to Michelle Obama, do you see her as a future?
I'll stop for just a second. I just wanted to say something else. So what they just said about the miserable people, whatever, the miserable weak men and miserable women. I mean, I see this stuff. I mean, I'm sure most people do. Most people in their right mind see how the Democrat Party or the left or whoever what we would consider kind of crazy ones out there, they're constantly overthinking everything. So everything becomes a slight. They feel like they're being oppressed or picked on or messed with, or they get offended by everything. It's like, what in the hell? Can you not be happy for even a second? Just like, well, obviously during this State of the Union or whatever that thing was, they addressed to Congress. They couldn't stand for the little boy that, suffered through cancer, and now he's doing better and was given, this special award thing with the Secret Service, making an honorary member. And then obviously they're still mad at Elon for finding all the Doge money, or whatever you want to call it, USAID. But they can't even be happy that, one, he's got electric vehicles that they were trying to mandate. And thank God we had that rolled back where it's not mandated. You still have a choice. But also the fact that he was able to get those astronauts out of space. Who else can say that they've done something like that? Are you serious? You can't even be happy that those people, they've been up there for months. I mean, they said, they listed off all the things that could go wrong. Obviously, the radiation, I don't know everything, but I mean, I'm sure they probably had to go through some kind of irradiation just from being up there so long, plus the muscle atrophy, problems in their gut. They're probably not. Your body needs, I think, a little gravity on certain things. I don't know. I'm just saying, when you're in an anti-gravity environment, and I'm not a scientist, I'm just saying there's things that I think we have here on Earth that we have to have in order to have a functioning body system. Let's just go. I mean, let's just say it that way. I don't, like I said, I'm not a scientist, but certain things make sense. Because they said that there was like a laundry list of problems that they could have. Just the muscle atrophy, because there's no weight bearing. So, Yeah, you could get on those treadmills. At least you see them on movies. I don't know if they had that there where they were able to exercise. I don't know. But 9 months like that, it's not good for the human body. Anyway, the point is, these people are always looking for some kind of a problem. They make everything a problem. I mean, I can't imagine. And they're usually the ones they used to go around and be like, positive vibes only. You know, that kind of stuff. It's like, but y'all are the ones not making everybody else miserable. What the heck? Anyway, I'll get off that little soapbox. But yeah, they can't be happy. And they've got to find a problem where probably no problem actually exists. Oh my gosh. You could go down a rabbit hole. You see it all the time. And it's usually liberals. And they're usually women. Or they're just nut job men, like the weak ones. But anyway, I'll shush. But yeah. Stop looking for problems. Life's not that bad. Good grief.
Politician, perhaps even a presidential candidate. She's always spoken about in those terms, her popularity, her appeal to female voters. But I wonder whether all of that is wildly overstated.
I think it is. First of all, reportedly, she hates politics. And so I would be very surprised if she found her way into politics on a personal level. But also, Rita, she seems very consumed by grievance culture. Her speech at the DNC this year was really shocking. I mean, it was about the myth of the persistence of racism and how hard it is to be a person of color in America. She's worth $70 million. I mean, she's sort of the proof positive that this is sort of nonsense. And I feel that is very out of touch with where most Americans are at. And I'm not just talking about white Americans. I think Black Americans are sort of sick of this message as well, which is why you saw a lot of movement towards the GOP. 25% of Black men voted for Donald Trump. And
so this is, I have to stop this just because I saw something else. Let me go back to my Instagram. This is so dumb. Oh my gosh. So this morning, somebody posted a video. Let me go back home. Let me get in here and just get my stuff. Sorry, I know I'm taking time away from this, but I have to show you guys. So this is how bad the whole idea of racism in America is. Let me see if I can find it. These are the ones that I liked. I've been on back and forth all morning on Instagram, and then I was reading stuff like that. But this is how bad the racism is. Where's that lady? This heavy-set woman. She's a Black lady, and she was saying that the diets don't work for Black people. The same diet wouldn't work for a Black person. Oh, right here. It says, when that diet be racist. Hold on. Why is it not playing? Oh, sorry.
Racism that you're experiencing and the struggle to make ends.
Let me see if I can start this over.
Me actually means the diet don't work for you the same. Women, when we do the same diets as white women, we lose less weight and we lose it slower. The racism that you're experiencing and the struggle to make ends meet actually means the diet don't work for you the same.
Okay, so see how ridiculous that sounds? That a diet doesn't work for you because of your race. I'm not making this up. I'm just showing you what's out there. And somebody, oops, hold on. Sorry. Somebody actually tried to tell me, well, where did you hear that from? I said, I couldn't tell you. It was something on, social media. And anyway.
His approval ratings right now with Black Americans are very, very high. So I think she's quite out of step with where the nation is, although the Democratic Party, again, does not seem to have realized that.
Now, Batia, you were on Bill Maher's program and your clips went viral very quickly, millions and millions of views. And I've got to say, you managed to make Bill look a little bit silly on his own program.
We're approaching
Hold on. I'm trying to adjust something here and I clicked the wrong thing. I'm sorry.
2 months in.
Didn't do
I
it.
mean, you must have a feeling in your gut. Look me in the eye and tell me you don't, that this is really going badly and I shouldn't have thrown my lot in with this team.
Oh, no, I feel the opposite.
All right. Tell me why.
I'm so sorry, Bill.
No, tell me why.
No, I feel so proud of, I mean, I was never a Republican or a conservative. I was a leftist and I am still a leftist. I'm just a MAGA leftist now because.
That makes no sense.
But Tia, tell me how you are, why you're so happy with how things are going, and explain to my audience, what is a MAGA leftist?
I'm happy because I feel like Donald Trump wakes up every morning and thinks, how can I make America better? How can I keep a campaign promise that I made? How can I do exactly what I promised my supporters I was going to do? We've never, ever, ever seen efficiency like this. We've never, ever, ever seen a president who truly wants to deliver exactly what he promised to his supporters and to the country overall. Trump throughout the campaign was saying our success will be our retribution. And that's what we're experiencing right now. This is everything I hoped for and more. And I could not have believed that he would be so successful. So, there was so much that I wanted to answer, Bill. I knew that I only had a few minutes. A MAGA lefty is somebody who has realized that the MAGA tent is big and that this president wants to represent all Americans. At a more fundamental level, Donald Trump is anti-war, he's pro-worker, he believes in a protectionist economy, and he's a social moderate. This was the left's agenda for 100 years. And so I don't see why I shouldn't get to still call myself a lefty just because Donald Trump lifted the best parts of the Democrats' agenda out from under them. They abandoned labor and he decided to represent labor. They embraced war and he decided to steal their anti-war platform. They went totally kooky crazy on the lefty stuff and he said, well, you know what? Looks like the moderate middle is just there for the taking. I'm going to take it. That's where I'm at. And I feel very represented and very happy.
And if more people just looked at the policies and the policy outcomes, the objectives of those policies, they would also identify as you do. But so many are transfixed by Trump and hating Trump that they don't actually look at what the agenda is. And you're right, he has taken a lot of what were traditionally leftist policies, and that is part of Make America Great Again, all about America first. It's all about protecting American workers, starting up American manufacturing again and reinvigorating that. And it's got to say, how divorced from reality are these lefties, even sensible ones like Bill Maher, who think Trump voters are somehow upset by what they're seeing. The polls are showing something entirely different to that. And even the polls that are traditionally favouring the Democrats are showing their approval rating under 30%. But here, I mean, this is just dire straits for the Democrats to have an approval rating in the 20s. How are they going to come back from that?
It's truly amazing. If you think of this split screen, on the one hand, you have a president who is representing the working class, elevating every hardworking American. He's getting us out of wars and bringing peace. And he's bringing common sense, moderate social policy back to the table. And what do the Democrats represent? Well, they represent keeping Tren de Agua here in America. They represent opposition to deporting rapists who are not citizens. They represent opposition to deporting Hamas supporters who are not citizens. They represent supporting trans women in women's locker rooms and women's sports.
Trans men,
and they represent protecting the fraud and abuse of our government. So, of course, their brand is in the toilet. Trump took everything that was good about them, and instead of saying, oh, wow, a president who's actually going to do leftist things, they decided to embrace everything that is just insane and crazy. And they
the far progressive radical
they turned on their own values and their own voters rather than admit that Donald Trump had a point. And this is truly unforgivable stuff.
Absolutely, and they're being punished for it. Now, let's speak quickly about the Russian-Ukraine war. Earlier today, Presidents Trump and Zelensky had an hour-long phone call. And afterwards, Zelensky said he thinks lasting peace is achievable this year. And he was full of praise for President Donald Trump. What a difference a couple of weeks makes, Batia. Tell me about how that is being perceived in the US.
I think people feel relieved. President Trump had to speak harshly to Zelensky when he was in the Oval Office. Most Americans approved of what they saw there. We want this war to end. We're finished, supporting foreign wars that have nothing to do with us. We hate the bloodshed.
Common
and
sense
I think
stuff.
A lot of us feel that we hate that our support was a big function of prolonging this bloodshed. I think President Trump feels that this is a proxy war in which the two superpowers do not want to be at war anymore. And he's desperate to bring this to a close. And I think he's doing a really good job. He has figured out how to play Putin, and he's figured out how to move Zelensky. And so I think that hopefully, please God, we will see movement very, very soon. I think he is very good at manipulating both Putin and our European allies. I think, we've seen European allies coming into the Oval Office and being very deferential. And as an American, you just love to see it. So I'm really hopeful that with God's help, we'll see an end to this very soon.
And he's been very good in getting the Europeans to spend more on their own defence and to start doing some of the heavy lifting, which has been another objective. Before you go, I want to play you just a small part of a speech JD Vance gave. He gave a masterclass on the failures of globalisation and how in the end it hurts advanced economies.
There were two conceits that our leadership class had when it came to globalization. The first is assuming that we can separate the making of things from the design of things. The idea of globalization was that rich countries would move further up the value chain while the poor countries made the simpler things. Whether we were offshoring factories to cheap labor economies or importing cheap labor through our immigration system, cheap labor became the drug of Western economies. And I'd say that if you look in nearly every country from Canada to the UK that imported large amounts of cheap labor, you've seen productivity stagnate.
And the failures of globalisation are so much behind the Trump phenomenon. And that's, again, something people fail to understand, that people who worked manufacturing jobs used to make decent money, used to be able to provide for their family, have economic security. And we've seen that destroyed in so many Western nations, and it's been deliberate, Batia.
Absolutely. JD's speech is incredible, very much worth watching in full. He really makes a compelling argument there that the cost that we paid for shipping all of these good jobs overseas and then importing a serf caste in here to do the jobs that remained, working class jobs that remained, that the cost of that was not just the dispossession of the American working class.
I'll give y'all another podcast you may want to look up. Tucker Carlson was on with, what's this guy's name? Bob Lighthizer. He talks about why Trump's tariffs are the only way to save the middle class, and they talk about that on Tucker's podcast. Basically, how they've shipped a lot of the jobs overseas, and then a lot of these towns, which JD Vance, I think, is from one of those towns, where they've all kind of died off, or there's people that moved away from there. So then these small towns just have nothing. I mean, they're just devastated, and people aren't able to, pay for things or take care of their families, and probably have drug and alcohol problems and other stuff like that. So anyway, you'll have to just put all these things together. Globalization is not good. And then also I listened to Winston Marshall with, is it Hageman? Something Hageman. She's a senator, I think. Anyway, she's from Wyoming. They were talking a little bit about that, but they were talking about all kinds of subjects that have to do with the government. But yeah, I've watched and listened to a lot of things and I read a lot of things. So some of this stuff just goes all together. Anyway.
it was also a cost in terms of innovation and in terms of productivity, in terms of what Americans would have innovated if they were still doing these jobs. And that is truly, truly criminal. The disinheritance of America's working class while the elites got rich off of cheap labor. It is the root of the Trump phenomenon. For working class people, immigration and the economy are two sides of the same coin. And this is something that's very hard for elites to understand. And JD laid it out beautifully.
He really is quite exceptional, I've got to say. I was a bit surprised when Donald Trump selected him, but if he's not the 48th president of the United States, I'm going to shave my head live on this show.
Oh,
no. Elga Sargon, thank you so much for your time
Don't
tonight.
do that.
Thank you so much, Rita. God bless.
So yeah, anyway, there's so much stuff. Oh gosh. I gotta go in here and like look at these documents because I'm reading a book, The Devil's Chessboard. I think the guy's last name is Talbot. And then also Tim, is it Weiner? I don't know. It's Wise something. Anyway, he just has The Legacy of Ashes and talks about the CIA. So I'm getting into some of this stuff, and then the JFK stuff just dropped. I mean, it's just like, oh, it's too much information. I'm not gonna probably go through all of it, but I'll go through some of it and maybe make some videos on it. But yeah, anyway, yes, Michelle Obama and her teeth were 70 million. You still can't fix the grill. Come on now. Anyway, I know that's ugly, but I'm so glad I never had to have braces or anything. I'm just saying, both of my kids did. My husband did. I know a lot of people that had them. But yeah, it's a crazy, crazy time with so much stuff happening. Anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. Like, share, and subscribe. See y'all. Bye.